YouTube, how the duck you doing? Duck Films here, and today we have yet another Marvel Rivals tier list for Season 8. Like always, tier lists are completely opinion-based and bias-based, so my opinion might be completely different from your own, which is perfectly fine, and there's nothing wrong with that. This video is more of a discussion. But anyways, let's dive straight into it. And if you like what you see, make sure to like the video, comment down below what videos you would like to see next. Of course, subscribe to the channel, but yeah, let's go. So, starting with Angela, I don't think Angela's good right now, mainly because the biggest or the best character in the game currently for Vanguards is Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur destroys Angela. I don't think the meta surrounding Angela is really beneficial at all for her. I think there's too many characters that really shut her down, and she doesn't get that much value, especially even in high elo and pro play. She's not as consistently picked as she once was. Some of the changes and just the overall changes with the crowd control and the Vanguard abilities definitely make her not really the best. But moving on, we go to Captain America. Now, I think Captain America is really good. You see him a lot in pro play, especially in the next series that's going on right now. And I think he's probably sitting around the S tier. It's mainly because of just the amount of sustain, the amount of mobility that this character has to offer. And against Devil Dinosaur, he can kind of just confuse the enemy and try to pull attention like he always does. So having this character as an option to play is a good idea. So I think for me, he probably sits around S tier because I see him still played quite frequently and quite oftenly. I've seen a couple of bans in Ignite from him, and I've seen a lot of picks of Captain America, so probably S tier for me at least. Moving on to Emma Frost, I think Emma Frost is still super strong. She's probably one of the only characters that can really shut down some of the other Vanguards and just a lot of the issues that this game has right now. And so I think we're sitting around the S because they're essentially Emma Frost counters Cap, so Emma Frost is always like a good tank. I don't think there's ever going to be an instance where she's not a good tank, so probably S tier still sits with me for sure. Well, let's do Deadpool because it's right here. So Deadpool, Vanguard Deadpool, I think sits around A tier. He's definitely got worse because he received some nerfs. And you have a character like Devil Dinosaur in the game, and you have other characters like Frost, Captain America, that kind of does his job but a little bit better. He's still a really good Vanguard pick, especially in the current meta. I would say if there's other Vanguards open, like Devil Dinosaur, Emma Frost, Cap, Groot, Mag. I mean, not necessarily Mag, but you get the idea. I would probably pick, Deadpool. But because of that, I still don't think he's particularly good. Now, shield tanks this season, so moving on to Doctor Strange, I don't think are good. Because you have Devil Dinosaur in the game just being a big question mark. He chomps through shields, he does a billion damage, and honestly, shield tank stunts are really, really far down in my eyes. I think for Doctor Strange, he's probably just a portal merchant at this point, and it's probably sitting around the C tier. You could probably still find value in a lot of these characters. Like I've always stated, every single character in this game can be playable, but you just have to have the right bands, and if you're good enough with the character, it doesn't particularly matter. So there's always the outliers that you need to account for, but I think a majority that Doctor Strange is just not good. And same with, Magneto as well. Definitely on a lower tier list this season for once. But moving on to Groot, I still think Groot is very good. Probably S tier. I think his ultimate, his walls, and just the chaos he creates in a fight is really up there. I think a lot of people sleep on Groot still. That being said, I think you still have to worry about Devil Dinosaur. Again, this character, it's like if this character is banned, you can play so many Vanguards. If this character is not banned, you have to play this Vanguard because it's just so strong. It's like essentially release Emma Frost, which is crazy to me. Moving on to Hulk, I don't think Hulk is particularly bad. I don't think he's particularly good. I think he's sitting in the middle. I think he's sitting like B tier essentially, because like I think a really good Hulk can take over a game, and just always the 50-50. But again, try to think of characters that can escape the Devil Dinosaur, get off his range, can escape, Emma Frost. Hulk gets shut down by Emma Frost. Uh, Angela, Doctor Strange, all these characters can get shut down, but Hulk, for the most part, is in a stable spot. I think he's decently balanced currently, but I think there's other Vanguards that does his job better, unfortunately, essentially. Moving on, we go to Mag, and for once, Mag is not up in the upper tiers. I think he sits around C tier with Doctor Strange. He runs into the same issue that you have such a prominent character being meta, which is Devil Dinosaur, that kind of just negates all of the shield impact that these characters have anymore. Like I said, there are the small instances where you can pick this character in high elo pro play and even in your normal ranked games, to where that, yeah, you'll get a ton of value, like if you're playing against a Punisher, or Star Lord, or so on. But I think the issue arises that you have all these Vanguards that just don't care about shields, so these characters kind of get dropped down because of the power creep of the others, if that makes sense. But moving on, we go to Penny Parker. So Penny is an interesting case. I think she has always been good, but I just think she is very situational in the most part. But that being said, where would she fit? I think she fits around the C tier as well. She is a very situational character. If you're playing a triple hold, like on Midtown, for example, still, you would still play her there maybe. But I think for the most part, because a character like Phoenix, sorry, is so prominent still, that this character struggles to get a ton of value because she just gets shut down. And again, you have Devil Dinosaur that just doesn't care about Penny. He doesn't care about anything. Just eats everybody, and it doesn't matter. There's nothing you can really do about it because the character is just way too good. So hopefully we'll see some nerfs to Devil Dinosaur eventually. Not necessarily like a huge nerfs, but I would like to see some tweaking of the numbers of his bleed damage that stacks because it is pretty oppressive for a Vanguard at least. Moving on, we go to Rogue. I think Rogue is decent. Like I think a lot of people say she's a team up merchant, which makes sense, but I think she's pretty cool. I like the character design. She is really hard because again, you have things like Devil Dinosaur in this game now that this absolutely shreds her, so it's hard for her to get a ton of value, but I still think she's pretty good. To me, she sits between A minus and B plus, so A B, like here, if I would put her here. But I'll put her A for now. I think that's fine. Let's see. So think Thing is in the same realm of the B tier with Hulk. They're kind of the same in the aspect that they just punch people. And again, Devil Dinosaur is in the game, so it's just like, what are you gonna do? Devil Dinosaur is the strongest character in the game probably right now. Thor probably sits in the lower tier of tanks. Mainly because the meta and just everything to offer is not really there for him anymore. I think a couple patches ago, maybe last patch, last season, he was up here. But this new season, because of the changes and because of the introduction of this character, he just gets knocked down a ton of steps because this are just characters that do his job just 20 times better, unfortunately. So eventually I would like to see some major changes to where I want this game to be properly balanced, but who knows if we'll ever get to that spot. For Venom is probably sitting in S tier, still super picked, still super highly picked, really good dive tank, especially in season 8. And I don't think there's a reason why he wouldn't be anywhere besides S tier, with the exception of, certain case scenarios of, Emma being in the game and whatnot. But I think this character is still very good. I don't think this character will ever necessarily be bad unless they change his ultimate again or they change some of his damage numbers, but I don't think they would do that. I still think he's pretty good. But yeah, it's kind of what I'm thinking about with Vanguards. But of course, Devil Dinosaur, the new Vanguard in Marvel Rivals Season 8, is probably Biss. He's just way too good. Too much damage, too much mobility. He just destroys the other Vanguards in the game. He does so much damage that I'm kind of shocked that he's in the game at this point, because Vanguards I feel like has always been super important. So he does bleed damage, so you want characters that can kind of sustain, because you have to think. So Groot, he has a Ironwood wall that makes him immune to CC. Devil Dinosaur has a grab. This is why Groot is pretty good. Emma Frost has a diamond form. Captain America is super mobile. Venom has his overshield and has a ton of mobility. If you were to think about other characters like this, Shield Tank, he just gets eat. Shield Tank just gets eat. Penny Parker can't really stand up to Devil Dinosaur. Angela does not play good into Devil Dinosaur. Thor does not play good into Devil Dinosaur. Deadpool can kind of get away with it, but not as well. Rogue, if like she uses her movement cooldowns, Devil Dinosaur just capitalizes on that. And if you want to play Angela, you might as well just play Cap or Venom because these are just better and they fit better with the compositions in season 8. So this is why the tier list kind of looks like this. So you have to think of what plays good into what and what the advantage and disadvantage of having said character on your team is. Because with Groot, you have big team fight potential. With Frost, you have team fight potential. Captain America, you have distraction. Venom, you have distraction. Deadpool, you have, distraction is being the front line, but you have this character to deal with. So it's all surrounding this character. A lot of this tier list is based because of this. The strength of this character is too great because I guess in normal ranked play, you can get away with just banning this character and freeing up all of this. But in pro play, a lot of the time it's pick ban. So you ban this character and save the character if the team is not, saving it or banning it. And it only allows you to play like these tiered characters. But if this character is banned, it frees up everything else. That's why its tier list looks like this, and that's kind of my reasoning behind everything. But yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments down below for the Vanguards. Again, it can be good, bad. It's all opinion based. Doesn't really, it matters, but yeah, let me know what you think. Like I said, I like tier list videos because they're all, really good discussion and talking points about the game. And it's fun to interact with the community. So, like what you guys have to see. No need to be super toxic though. So many people get toxic at tier lists, and I don't really understand why, but it is what it is. People can have opinions, but it's all good. So, moving on. Black Cat. Black Cat is very good. Very, very good. I think she's a very good duelist. She has a lot of potential to do a lot. I think the amount of utility this character has to offer, she kind of reminds me of, Deadlock in a way. Of you have like an item shop essentially, but instead of an item shop, it's just an ability shop where you get to choose what abilities you want. The portal is insane. The mini strange portal. I think this character just fits really well with this pseudo tempo, dive composition where you're diving in. You have the frontline distraction, you have a Venom or you have Captain America to kind of be your dive initiators, and then you have your Black Cat to follow in. So pretty good. I think she's probably sitting S tier. And I think dive this season is really good because like you have this character to distract, you pair it up with another dive tank that frees up a lot of room for you to play dive. So it's really good. I'm trying to go for mobile comps right now. That being said, I think Black Panther, unfortunately, falls kind of short on this stick. He's essentially what Black Cat is essentially what Black Panther could have been, but I just don't think this character is good. I really wish this character was good. I really truly wish. Playing Black Panther is fun. Like, you can't get me wrong. Doing dash resets all around is super fun, but I just don't think the meta suits him too well. And I just think his kit is a little bit outdated at this point. I think some small tweaks to his kit would be very nice. Maybe a full rework. I think if you keep the same idea of the dash resets, but just change his kit, I think this character could be still super fun. But I don't think he's that bad. I don't think he's like D tier or worse than Slut. But that being said, Widow, D. No question really. I just don't think the character's good. I don't think she will ever really be good. I mean, she's good in certain circumstances where you have a Mantis and you're going for a one-off pick right off a spawn. Then you go back into spawn and swap. Used to do this in Overwatch, where spawning in as a Widowmaker, go for a one pick and then swap. But I think that's about it. That's as far as she will go in terms of high elo and pro play. There is certain circumstances where, you have the one individual, the one trick that is insanely good with this character. It can completely take over a game, but that's the one outlier. But still probably sitting around the D tier. Blade, I think, is B. I think he's pretty good. He's not bad. He's not horrible, but he's alright. He does a lot of damage. He can sustain a lot in fights, especially against Double Dinosaur and some of the other Vanguards. But I think his kit needs a little bit more love to push him a little bit further up. But I think sitting him in the middle is fine. Some people see him as super strong, some people see him as super bad, but I think he's pretty good. I don't think he's terrible or anything. But yeah, that's kind of where it falls in for me. So Elsa. Elsa, probably another S tier DPS. Very good damage. Her ultimate is still super crazy. You just have to be a lot more reliant and understanding of her dashes now. You have to be a little bit smarter with how you move around, but probably still sitting around the S tier. Still does a ton of damage. Daredevil, same case as Black Hat. Really good dive duelist, especially in this tempo-driven, I guess, meta for Season 8. So probably S tier. His ultimate is still very good. Paired up with Double Dinosaur can be pretty brutal. You can see it all the time in Ignite and, high elo. But that's probably what I'm thinking. Moving on to Hela, or Hawkeye, sorry. I think Hawkeye is probably low tier because you just have, like, dive is really good. Hawkeye does really poorly into characters like Cap, Emma Frost. He's okay into Devil Dinosaur because he has a giant head hitbox, but it's still Devil Dinosaur, so it doesn't really matter. I think with the dive team compositions, Hawkeye struggles because he only really has one escape tool, and that's his shift, which is the Crescent Blade, where he knocks people back. But even then, like, yeah, he has a double jump, but even then he just gets dived on by the rest of the characters, so it doesn't really matter too much. I think Hela is probably sitting B tier, mainly because I don't think the meta really fits Hela. Because now, even though Hela does a lot of damage, has the one-off instance of really good picks, has her bird, has her stun, and her ultimate, I think you would rather just pick Phoenix, because Phoenix is just ultimately Hela with a better kit. She does more single target damage, which is really good in this meta because she can easily burst down people. So I think the stocks on Hela easily drop down now. But that's what I'm thinking. Human Torch, still probably really low. Maybe D tier. I don't think he's good. Like I said, you just have better characters. Like I said, we're playing dive compositions. You're not really going to see a Human Torch anywhere. And you still have to deal with a hit scan character like Phoenix. So, probably D tier. Iron Fist. Iron Fist A. Iron Fist pretty good. I think he can brawl a lot of these Vanguards for the most part. Devil Dinosaur, not so much. The rest of these, yeah, for sure. He can easily brawl them down, can take them out, shred the tanks down. But I think in the case of fighting against a Devil Dinosaur, you probably wouldn't want to pick this character. You would rather pick like a different, sustained damage character rather than try to cheese your way with Iron Fist. We got to Iron Man. Iron Man's still really low. I don't think he's good. I don't think Iron Man will ever be good until they bring Gamma back, which I don't know if they would. But playing Gamma Iron Man was really fun. Because I think it showed a lot of tracking skill. I do want to add Duelist Deadpool. So Duelist Deadpool, in my eyes, is an interesting one. Because he used to be pretty good, but I don't think the meta suits him anymore. And I think he's like C tier. If I were to move him. That's what I'm thinking. Probably C tier. But Magic, probably C tier as well. In the same realm of Black Panther. Like, yeah, they can be played. There's the one-off instances of they can do pretty decent. But I think you would rather just play the better counterparts of Daredevil, Black Cat, Iron Fist, than these dive duelists below. Moving on to Mr. Fent. Mr. Fent, I don't think he's good. He's good in certain circumstances, but I don't think he's that good right now. He got some changes, but I don't think the changes are good enough for him to be played or warranted in a high elo and pro play, because you have Devil Dinosaur that will absolutely destroy Mr. Fantastic. Moon Knight, I don't think Moon Knight's bad. I think Moon Knight's pretty good, especially at breaking strong spawn holds. Does a lot of damage in total, so that's what I'm thinking. Phoenix is probably your BIS duelist. Ton of single target damage. Her ultimate's very good. She has a ton of escape, a ton of utility. She can get to really good off angles and just decimate the enemy team. You're played a ton still, but yeah, if you have characters like Black Hat or Daredevil banned, or maybe even Elsa, you would probably just pick Phoenix, because Phoenix is just the better counterpart to a lot of these other characters, and it will still remain at the top until she's actually nerfed. I don't think she's ever been nerfed. Yes, she got her health, and yes, they kind of changed how her sparks worked, but I don't think that's the issue with this character. She runs into a lot of different issues. Moving on to Namor. I think the Namor kind of fits into the same realm of this B tier, of this character not being too good because of what the meta currently is. It's really hard to find value when you're playing against a super hard dive. Yes, he is the king of anti-dive, but when you have to deal with a double dinosaur and you need more sustained, consistent damage, yes, his turrets provide that, but it's not enough to out damage and out heal everything else. So we're probably sitting B tier. Still pretty good, but not the best. Psylocke is probably A this season because you have Black Cat and Deadpool that kind of do her job this 20 times better. I think Punisher is probably A tier because of how well he plays into a lot of these tanks. His ultimate counters Emma ultimate. He does a lot of damage to Captain America, a lot of damage to Roots, a lot of damage to Venom, and a lot of damage to Double Dinosaur because of his giant head hitbox. Despite taking less critical damage, he can still pump in a ton of damage. Spider-Man. Spider-Man's probably B tier. Not the best, not the worst. Pretty good for the one offenses if you're trying to go for a quick pick. Try to get someone off the map. Probably sitting in B tier. Star-Lord is S, especially with the change to the amount of ammo he can carry to 50 shots now. You can shred down a lot of these tanks. He's a really good anti-dive character. And if you're banning for this character now, you have 3 bans in a normal ranked mode. You can easily, if you're playing with a stack or whatever, you can easily set up a team composition around Star-Lord. And in pro play, he's picked quite consistently because of how good he is at anti-dive and just the amount of damage he can do. So, really good character. Scarlet Witch is still really bad, and I don't think she will ever be good. Unfortunately. Storm, I think Storm's good. I really want her to be really good, but she's pretty low on my stocks right now because of what the meta is, and I just don't think this meta suits her whatsoever. Because you're playing against all these hit scans, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to deal also with dive at the same time. And you want characters that can really do a lot of damage to the crit, and you can't really crit with her, so there's no reason why you should be picking her, essentially. If she can't do damage to Devil Dinosaur, there's no reason really worth picking her in my eyes. Squirrel Girl falls into the same realm that she doesn't really do crit damage, so she can't really play into a lot of these tanks. And she can just get easily dived on. Yeah, she can do a lot of bursts in certain case scenarios, but I think there's only small instances where you want to pick this character. Winter Soldier. My Winter Soldier stocks have gone down quite drastically, especially with some of the changes and just what the meta is right now. Like, I think a lot of people don't understand these tier lists. A lot of these characters, despite being low in the tier list, are still really good individually, but the issue is that the meta surrounding the current season does not fit this character's identity. So the character can't get a lot of value. That's why certain characters that you might think are really good are actually not that good because of what the meta is. And the meta, from my point of view, is a super tempo based meta, meaning you want speed, you want the ability to be quick with your hits, so you have dive, you have, characters that dive really well. You have Daredevil, Black Cat, you have Iron Fist, you have characters that really work on tempo. And if you get an ultimate Star-Lord tempo, where you're just cycling ultimates and you're pairing it up with Gambit and whatnot, there's just nothing stopping that. So that's why it's Bucky is just not as good. I almost got sidetracked. But I don't think he's terrible. I think he's sitting in the mid. Like, he's good, but he's also bad. Like, maybe in your ranked games, Bucky's still taking over, but in a higher elo and pro play, it's just not worthwhile to pick this character. Wolverine. Wolverine's an interesting one. I think Wolverine's pretty good. Wolverine's good here because of what the tanks that you're playing against. Captain America, Venom, Groot if you destroy the Ironwood Wall, because he can shred down these Vanguards. Sometimes with Emma Frost if you bait out the Diamond form, Rogue. Sometimes with Double Dinosaur because of just like the amount of damage he does to tanks is kind of hit or miss. Like, these characters against each other are pretty scary. That's why he's probably higher on stocks right now. Um, because of what Vanguards are strong right now, making characters like Wolverine and Iron Fist stronger because of the percent damage they do. And, doing percent damage into a character that has a ton of shield, like Devil Dinosaur, is really good. But yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking for my Duelist section. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about the Duelist. But anyways, let's move on to our Strategist now. So Strategist. Adam Warlock is probably the worst Strategist right now. Unless you have a certain team composition that surrounds Adam Warlock. It's because this character is good, but he struggles just of what the meta is. And his soul bond is actually kind of bad against Devil Dinosaur because of the bleed. The bleed and the stacking of the bleed, when you soul bond, everybody's bleeding kind of. Everyone's taking a lot of damage, and it can be just really bad. And I just don't think his stocks are that high in my eyes right now. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And then pro play, I've not seen Adam Warlock picked a single time currently in this Ignite season. And I think it's warranted because he just have characters that completely like do his job just 20 times better. Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger's alright. They're not the best, they're not the worst. They got their ult changed a little bit. Just better characters that do their job better. I think in ranked play, normal MM, pretty good duo. In terms of outside of that, I don't think they're really picked ever. Like, you pick this character for tempo, but you have better tempo characters. Like, for instance, Gambit. Gambit is your BIS. This character is still the best character in the entire game in terms of strategist, no doubt about that in my eyes. Just not really a lot of target or argument points for it because the character is just so strong. The issue with this character is the ultimate, and they're not really nerfing the ultimate, nor do I think they ever will. And until they properly nerf the ultimate, I don't think like this character will ever get not banned, essentially. Invis. Invis is still one of your top strategists. They reverted some of the changes with her healing and her damage and her push and pull, but those changes really don't mean anything because her ultimate is still super strong. She still does a ton of healing, a ton of burst healing, and I don't think there's a world where this character will drop below S. Jeff. Jeff is alright, if I would say. He's probably like low S. Yeah. Loki, same thing. S. I do want to say Deadpool strategist, S. Look at Snow, S. Mantis, S. What else is there? I mean, White Fox, Ultron Rocket. White Fox, Ultron Rocket, SSS. Rocket is probably A, because he's just not that good in comparison to all the other strategists in the game. We're back to all the strategists being incredibly strong yet again. Yeah. I wish they would stop power creeping the strategists so much. The strategists just have like every option available in their entire arsenal to do anything. And like I said, usually in my tier list, I don't go left to right in terms of power ranking. But I think like if you're looking at strategist, you'd probably drop Jeff down here. You'd probably move like White Fox here. And you would probably it'd probably be like this, like Prio pick Invis, to second Prio Loki, third White Fox, then Deadpool Strategist, Luna, Mantis, Ultron, Jeff, in that order. But of course, it would mix up depending on the enemy's team composition. But that's probably what I'm looking at for the strategist. A lot of the characters are really inflated in terms of like just how much damage and healing they provide. Yeah. So like the damage change to this character was kind of crazy. White Fox is insane if you know how to play the character right. Loki's insane still. Viz insane. Deadpool strategist does a ton of healing, ton of damage. Mantis, we're back to Mantis Ultron +1 strategist. with a Star Lord again, the same exact meta as a couple seasons ago. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at for strategists, at least in my eyes, for season 8, especially in high elo and pro play. This is kind of what you're looking at. Like I said, all tier lists are completely opinion based, and everybody has their own opinion, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, I mean, you can let me know in the comments what you think as well. There's nothing wrong with that. I love question videos, essentially, not necessarily a question, but discussion videos. So yeah, let me know what you think. Anyways, I hope you have a great and safe day, and I'll catch you in the next one.